This is all the countries you should not click whilst playing Geoguessr. That's right, when playing Geoguessr, you have basically the entire world to pick from when choosing which location you're in. And that's all well and good, apart from the fact that many countries don't have any coverage at all. So whilst I will probably do a video in the future about the individual countries in Geoguessr and learning more about them, this time we're doing everywhere that you should not click. Repeat, not click. I found a few maps which are quite interesting, so let's get into it. The first one is the map in Geoguessr itself. So if you go up to your profile and then scroll down to the very bottom of the page, you will see this. This is a map of the entire world. And as you can see, there's various sections that you can highlight and click on, and then there's these other areas of the world which are all blanked out. Now, whilst this map is helpful at a glance, these are the Explorer maps, which means that it is a map where you're very likely going to get placed in a game of standard Geoguessr. So if, for example, we go to Poland, we'll be taken to the classic maps Poland, and then we'll be taken to a whole bunch of maps based in Poland's borders. There's then these other countries, particularly with large parts of Africa, which apparently aren't in the game. Which is only half true, because whilst it's correct that in a standard game you'll very likely not see these places, that isn't always the case. Just for one example is China. On this map it says that you can't click on it, there's no Explorer game for China, which seems to suggest there's limited to no coverage, but we'll get to that very shortly, guys. And what you'll see from this map is that the main purpose of it is to get these medals here. So you can play various maps and get bronze, silver, gold, or even platinum medals. As you can tell, my medals are not fantastic. I think I need to play some more and get some more medals under my belt. So anywho, here's the map on Geoguessr. But that's only part of the story here. We've got another website to look at which might be more helpful. Now, this is a website called Plonket.net. And as you can see, there is a guide for Geoguessr, which I find incredibly useful, but more importantly, for the purpose of this video, is a map of the world, and specifically, this is a map of everywhere that has some Geoguessr coverage. And as you can tell, there's a few countries here that weren't in the last map, such as China. Now there's good reason for that, because whilst there is limited coverage in China, there is some. So what we're really looking at here is a map of every country with any coverage whatsoever. So any country here that is not in blue and is in fact grey, such as Sudan or Chad or even Algeria, this means that there is absolutely no coverage whatsoever, and if you click one of these countries, then, well, you're only doing yourself a disfavour. Oh, this is cool, you can zoom in. So if we have a look around Europe, there's most places that do have coverage, some places which are going to have coverage soon, and then other places like Kosovo with no coverage whatsoever. So these are the kind of things that I need to learn. Which countries do I never click? Kosovo is one, and it appears that Moldova is another. Bosnia and Herzegovina is coming soon, so that will soon be in the game. But aside from that, everything else seems to be pretty much there in Europe. But it's important to note because there are some places that are going to appear much less often than others. So, for example, I know for a fact that Belarus, despite the fact it being listed here, is actually a country that really doesn't come up. But again, we'll get to that shortly. In the Americas, you've got pretty much North America covered, and a lot of these countries down here. But then we've got a lot of the Caribbean and Central America that isn't covered, so that includes Belize, Honduras, Nicaragua, Cuba, we got Haiti, we got Jamaica, and if you really zoom in, we've even got other places like Barbados, which I really wish I knew that, because in an old video I tried to guess Barbados, and it's not even in the game, so great. And then moving down to South America, we have most of the actual continent covered, apart from places like Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, and French Guiana. So just at a glance, we need to kind of avoid this area, and avoid this area here. Oh, and Paraguay's coming soon, so that's nice to know. Apparently we've got Antarctica. I doubt it's the whole of Antarctica, but apparently it's there. Oceania, we've got the big boys, we've got Australia, New Zealand, many places up here, in sort of Southeast Asia. But then when we zoom in, there's a lot of places here that don't have coverage. There are a few notable exceptions, which we'll probably get to, and things that I'm going to have to learn, because I'm fairly sure that if I miss some of these, that's some big losses in a game of Geoguessr Duels. I mean, I'm fairly sure that there's going to be a lot of smaller places, which I have to zoom in to find, which may or may not have coverage, but just taking a glance here, in this Southeast Asia area, the main ones, of course, are North Korea, and then we've also got Myanmar. Two countries which have absolutely no coverage whatsoever. And then we've got this part of the world, which instead of learning which countries don't have coverage, it's probably easier to learn which ones do, because then you can just kind of disregard the rest. I mean, if we look here, we've got the Middle East. Many places around here don't have it, so this is pretty much a no-go area. We've got Syria, we've got Saudi Arabia. These are huge parts of the world which apparently just don't have coverage, so there we are. And then we've got the big one. We've got the African continent. Like I said, most of the continent isn't even in the game. So instead of looking at all these countries that don't have it, we have to really focus our attention on places like Egypt, we've got Tunisia, and then we've got places like Mali, Senegal, Ghana, Nigeria. We've got this little block here, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania. We've got Madagascar, and then all the countries down here, which are Namibia, Botswana, South Africa, Lesotho, and Eswatini. As a Geoguessr newbie myself, what I might start by doing is, instead of trying to learn each and every single country, maybe just try and imprint this in my brain and see if I can remember these little things to ensure that if I'm making a guess in somewhere like Africa, I'm at the very least guessing somewhere which I know has coverage, or guessing in a rough area of the country which I know is going to have a good chance of being nearish where I'm going. I mean, I'm sure over time I'll actually learn it properly, but these things, they take time. Interestingly, down here we've got some countries that have recently been added, such as Namibia, Oman, Cyprus, and Vietnam. So if those are places that you've not guessed before, then maybe have those on your radar too. And whilst this map is useful, there is one more which I think is also worth a quick mention. This is a map on a website called geohints.com, and it is another map, but this time we have a coloured key, which shows which areas have common coverage, uncommon coverage, rare or no official coverage whatsoever. Meaning that when we look at that map again and compare it to what we've seen before, much of this looks very similar, apart from a few outliers, such as China, the one I mentioned before, which has uncommon coverage. So whilst it wasn't appearing on the Geoguessr maps, it is here. So I think it does come up, but it's very few and far between. We've then got all these other places which are rare coverage. So they are here on the map which weren't on the Geoguessr map, such as Mali. However, thinking about it, I don't really know how often it is that you should probably guess these places because, well, if they're rare coverage, why would you waste a guess on a place which is unlikely to turn up? Unless you know for definite it's that country, maybe don't pick these ones, and maybe pick something in red instead. But what do I know? I'm just a noob after all. And yes, I know I've not covered each and every single country in the world, because I'd be here all day. On this Plonket website, which I will leave links down in the description for, and you scroll down, there is a very interesting list of all the countries that are in the game by continent. So if you learn these, you're on your way. So if you want a complete list of countries that are in the game, the best bet maybe to have a look at this and see what you can figure out. And then the countries that simply aren't here, then I think you know what that means. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there, but thank you guys very much for watching, and if you enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Fantastic.